Well, the beginning of that scared the hell out of me. I'll tell you, I wondered what was happening. I thought that we got a broken record somehow. Fly High. I think that's what they call rappers. Or rapping, or whatever. I know that a couple of years ago, because I tend to stay way behind the times when it comes to modern music and changes and so on and so forth. I was never very good at it when I was a kid, but I'm even worse now. I had no idea what a rapper was. And some friends who decided that my education should be furthered by going to a rapper concert said, we're going to take you to see some rappers. And for some reason I got it firmly fixed in my mind that it was a fair that was going to give out free chocolate bars. We're going to get Mars rappers and chocolate rappers, all sorts of different rappers. When I got there, I found it was a concert with people making a noise like that one. And I suppose really I can understand why it turns some people on. Doesn't me particularly, and I don't know whether it does you. But anyway, every time I now eat a chocolate bar, I think of the rappers that I missed when I wasn't going to a chocolate fair at all. I was going to see some musicians. Oh, dearie, dearie me. Talk about getting old. Boy, did I have a rant yesterday. I ranted against everybody because I did, for once, start to feel my age. No, something triggered it. But I did start to feel my age. And, right throughout this coronavirus, right up to coronavirus, I've never felt, I've gone along with age is just a number. Get on with it. Let's go. Even though I'm a bit down because of a little condition problem that I have. I've got a touch of Parkinson's, but I get on with it, and I'm very happy to do so, and it doesn't really hold me back. But the moment coronavirus started, first of all, I was told that I wouldn't be able to get out of the house until the end of August. Right? Yes, that was email. And then I kept on getting letters from both the NHS and the government saying that because I was vulnerable, and I kept thinking it was because I got, as they call it, an underlying condition. Not a bit of it. It was because I was old. Old, they said. And in fact, one lady who did a survey from the NHS, we were partway through the survey, and it suddenly occurred to me, these are strange questions for somebody who's got an underlying condition. So I said, have you got on there that I've got Parkinson's? And she said, no. She was totally astonished. She said, this is only because of your age. I was vulnerable because of my age. And I kept on getting blatters from all sorts of people about, old, until in the end my friends started to say it, and my colleagues started to say it. And as I said to them, if we call MPs sheep long enough, does that make them sheep? Well, actually the answer to that is yes. But the answer to, if you keep on telling somebody they're old long enough, do they then start to feel old? I can tell you, the answer is yes. And I wish people would shut up. And I got really, really angry, particularly since it's not the old that has brought on some of the problems that we've had in the last decade. Certainly not the old. And, to have fingers pointed just simply because of age is just not on. And I find it very, very funny with all this bend the knee and so on and so forth. I can't be bothered with it because racism is not something that even enters my conscience. And I've spent a lot of time in Nigeria, and I've also spent time in Ethiopia, and the Gulf, if you want to consider that part of Africa. And the fact of the matter is, they are far more civilized in many ways than we are. I never ever suffered any racism in any of those countries. Ever. I was treated with courtesy and kindness. I was in Jordan on one occasion, and I was trying hard to find an old Roman forum. And I was walking down the street, and a chap sort of came out. He raced out and said, hello, what are you doing here? And I said, I'm looking for this forum. He said, well, it's a long walk. He said, why don't you come and have a little drink with me and my wife, and come and sit on the roof, and you can see it from here, which I did. Can you imagine happening in this country, racing out and saying to a stranger, come and see the Eiffel Tower from Blackpool? It would never happen. It would never happen. But what they do have, mostly these West African countries and the Gulf. I have to say West African because although I know a lot of East African people, I've never actually been to those countries. But certainly Nigeria is absolutely wonderful in the sense that they revere their old. They look after their grandfathers. They look after their fathers. They look after their fathers' wives, which sometimes are quite numerous. But it's a caring society, okay? It's known for its corruption. It's known in parts for its violence, triggered by all sorts of conditions. It's a vast, vast country. Nigeria's got 180 million people. In fact, I said 180 million people, and Nigerian actually corrected me. He said, I think we're closer to 200 million now. And it's a vast country. I love travelling it. But their respect for age and maturity goes far beyond anything that we've got. And that's what they don't understand. They don't understand why we don't revere wisdom and age. They could care less about skin colour. And that's really the truth, if you don't believe me. Visit Nigeria. And walk and talk with them. Yeah, you've got the odd person in the corner with a knife that'll take your purse if you want. That's not so different from here. But generally speaking, they are the warmest people that you could ever come across. And I saw one day, because they all dress in, the ladies dress in very, very colourful costumes. And if you're listening, Imabong, yours are always the most beautiful of the lot. It's my friend Imabong, who is a delightful lady, and she's a journalist, but she does terrific social work amongst the underprivileged. Anyway, another story, another day. I saw a whole bunch of ladies all in the same dress. Very colourful, beautiful. The headwear, which is very puffy and lovely on top, all the same. And I thought, if that happened here and they were all going to a cocktail party, there would be hell to pay. So I said to my colleague, there were beautiful ladies in beautiful costumes and so on and so forth, beautiful dress. Why are they all dressed the same? And it was the Women's Institute. They all dressed the same. It was their uniform. But because it is so beautiful, their clothes are so beautiful, it didn't even occur to me that it was a uniform. It's quite astonishing, quite astonishing. Never mind. Oh gosh, it's 23 minutes. I thought I'd been on the air for about 3. I'm sorry, I can't help it. This morning, here we go again, because if we're falling out with China and we're falling out with Russia, it's about time that we remembered the days of friendship. And this goes back to 1940, would you believe? And this lady kept us all going, along with Jack Jackson, one of the BBC's, quote, disc jockeys. He played it every Sunday morning to keep our spirits going during the dark days of the war and after. So here it is, Rose, Rose. absolutely brilliant. I'm sure that some of you wonder why on earth anyone would want to play that. Oh, but during the war it was fantastic, and I may say I think it is still fantastic. A lovely, lovely Chinese lady who must have gone to the Great China in the Skies by now, I'm quite sure, because she was no spring chicken then. But in the war years, that lady kept us all going, along with Jack Jackson and his selection of music on a Sunday morning. 1940s, I shouldn't say 1940 specifically, 1940s. And it was there was some great music in those days. And of course, what we also heard a lot of was the great Vera Lynn, who sadly passed away a few weeks ago. She lived just down the road from here, in Ditchling, and I personally only ever met her once. But my wife, my late wife, who's a Canadian, a raw Canadian, and was not overawed by anybody or anything, got to know her quite well, and would sit and have long chats with her. And she said that even in older years, she was quite delightful. And I bet you if somebody had called her old at 80, they got a bloody black eye. And I'll tell you, there are a few people in authority around who, if I meet them, and I sometimes do in the course of my life, my daily circuit, now that lockdown is over, if I do, they're going to get a bloody black eye too. Old at 80? Don't be so damn silly. I'm back, fighting fit. Ha ha ha! 27, 53... 55, 56, 57. We've only got 3 minutes left. So let me quickly tell you, because the headlines this morning in the papers are all about the Russians trying to nick our vaccine for the COVID or whatever it is. And they're naughty people. They're sending in their spies and so on and so forth and trying to discover what we've discovered. According to Boris, we haven't discovered anything yet. It's all around the corner. It's always going to be. So what they're trying to nick, I have no idea. But I got some lovely Russian friends, and Yuri is a retired nuclear submarine commander, and we would sit in his dacha south of Moscow on the Moscow River, and we would sit and we would have chats about all sorts of things, and he would regale us. I mean, and may I say, a vodka for breakfast. Well, we played Yahtzee. A lot of people don't know what Yahtzee is, and I haven't got time to explain. But anyway, it's a dice game. We played Yahtzee. We sipped vodka for breakfast, and he would tell us how, in his opinion, how the hell the United States Navy and the Russian Navy didn't start a nuclear war. He'll never know, because he said neither side knew what they were doing and made mistakes all the time. Does that make you feel more comfortable? No. Particularly when there was a story yesterday in the paper about a submarine almost sinking a ferry between Stranraer and Belfast. It's about 2 years ago now. The report has only just come out. So there we go. Watch out for the submarines. If you see one, tell them they're on the wrong path. That's it, I'm afraid. I've just run out of time again. I don't know how it is that I do this every morning. I start to enjoy myself, I guess. So let's see if we can find our buddy and say goodbye. Toodle pip. Back with you tomorrow.